This case right here is a prime example. A prime example of what happens when you have a society where you place one gender so far above the other gender has no rights at all. When it comes to fathers and mothers, the majority of all men will not have any say-so over their children. Even if a woman chooses to have an abortion, he don't have a right to tell her, it's my child and I want my child. If you don't want the child, I want my child. You don't have that right. No, she has the right to snuff it, kill it, and he has no say-so in his own child at all. Not at all. Not whatsoever. And then, of course, in our society, we've also been taught, we've taught women that men owe them a living. Men owe them a living, okay? We've given women every excuse out of responsibility possible, okay? And because we keep giving women, every excuse out of being responsible for their own actions, okay? Think about it. When a woman does something wrong, we stand by it and justify it. And if she does something wrong and she blames it onto the guy, then the guy's at fault. Even when the guy ain't at fault, because she does not have to have responsibility for her own actions, okay? And because of this behavior the society has presented for so long, we have stories like this now. Mother caught in hospital camera suffocating newborn son after telling doctors baby had breathing difficulties. Okay? Now it's got a video down here. We'll play that first and see if it plays. We may have a commercial here.
Well, charges are filed against a woman accused of trying to suffocate her infant son. Investigators say that 24-year-old Katie Lewis of Hutchinson brought her child to Children's Hospital in St. Paul on Wednesday, saying he had repeatedly stopped breathing. Now, Lewis was then reportedly caught on camera, pinching the boy's nose and covering his mouth. Hospital staffers quickly stepped in, and the baby is now in good condition, but Lewis told investigators her son had stopped breathing repeatedly, and then she wanted to do something to help the hospital staff discover why.
Yes, and then as I was reading it, I will come down here and I will read this part to you. She also admitted she snapped due to the stress and the frustrations of bringing up her child. There you go. So, the frustrations of having to be responsible. Yes, this child would have tied her down. Yeah. I mean, she couldn't use any protection, could she? No. She couldn't demand that the guy wore a condom. She couldn't take a pill. She couldn't get a female condom. She couldn't do any of that, no, because that means I'd have to be responsible enough to stop myself from getting pregnant. She couldn't keep her clothes on and keep her legs closed, now could she? No. And if the baby's already born and that's blah, 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 what happened to the father? You mean you couldn't ask the father if he wanted the kid, just give the kid up to the father? No, couldn't do that neither. No. Can't give the kid to its own father. We got to kill it first. That's right. We got to attempt to kill it. Because this way we don't have to be responsible, see? That's what this comes down to. This comes down to the lack of wanting to be responsible. See, this kid would have tied her down. She couldn't go out and party. That's right. She couldn't be free to go out and do whatever she wants when she wants. And she couldn't just go out and spread her legs. Maybe some guy wouldn't want to give her the time of day because she already had a child from another guy. That's right. Do you see where I'm going here? Because that's exactly what's taking place here. Because we have placed women in such a fucking spot and spoiled them rotten, and the gender roles itself tells it all. I mean, just the gender roles itself tells it all. Who's responsible in the dating scene? The men are responsible to impress, make laugh. That's right. Women believe that the guy has to pay for the first date. Women believe the guy has to have a good income, a good this, a good that, and a good this, and a good that, and a good this, and a good that. That's right. To meet her expectations list, because she was programmed and taught from the time she was a child that men owe her a living. Okay? She's young yet. She wants to get out there and party and hang out with her friends. That's right. And go out and have more sex and more sex, okay? But somewhere in this world is the father to this newborn baby. Okay? But she couldn't give it to the father when she didn't want to be responsible to raise it. You know why? She was afraid that she might have to pay child support. That's right. She may have to actually pay a guy child support for her child that she didn't want. Okay? But then she didn't want the responsibility of the child, but she didn't want the responsibility of taking protection to keep herself from being pregnant neither. That's right. She didn't want that responsibility neither. Why? Well, because they've been taught that they don't have to have any responsibility. They have a hole between their legs. They do not have to have responsibility based on the fact that they have a vagina. Okay? The guy now, he has a dick. He has to be very responsible about everything in life. But she has a vagina. So she don't have to be responsible about nothing. Okay? And it's so obvious. I mean, right here is the proven example, okay, of what I'm telling you. She is an example. That's all she is an example, because you can find this thousands of times over and over and over and over again. You know, I know a gal that was young like she was, had her child, and she was so mad at that child all the time because it interfered with her going out and partying. She dumped the child on anybody she could dump it on to babysit it. Anybody, on a regular basis. And when she couldn't find somebody to dump it on, she'd drag it with her to the party. And then, of course, neglect it because she was busy with her friends and didn't have time for the kid. And so then the kid got a anthill and got bit up by fire ants. Then the kid got fucking out, left outside and got ate the fucking hell by fucking fleas and mosquitoes. The whole body was covered in welts on a little fucking 2.5, 3-year-old child. Why? Because mommy did not have time for the child, because the child was interfering with mommy's life, because mommy has partying to do. That's right. That's no lie. That's fact. But what do we have to blame for this? We have ourselves for putting one gender in that position to begin with. When we start making women accountable, that's right, accountable for their actions, and when we have to become responsible, like a man does, in the gender roles of the dating scene, when a woman has to be just as responsible as the man, that's right. As soon as we make women responsible, like men are supposed to be responsible, then the stuff will start laying off. But like I said before, she could have gotten protection, couldn't she, to stop herself from getting pregnant. She didn't have to take her clothes off and spread her legs, did she? No. She could have went and got protection. And if nothing else, there was a father. And if that wasn't good enough because maybe the father didn't want the kid neither. I mean, after all, we do have irresponsibility in this world, don't we? Well, then there's adoption agencies, isn't there? She could have gave the kid up freely. But she didn't want to do that. She'd rather kill it. That's right. Maybe she's practicing Planned Parenthood, eugenics. She'd rather snuff it and kill it. Fucking disgusting.